welcome to Voices of CFMA, Construction Financial Management Association's podcast featuring conversations with industry leaders, sponsored by Old Republic Surety. I'm your host, Sal Marino, CFMA's Marketing and Content Manager. This month, I am talking with Shawn Erickson. Shawn is CFO of C.J. Erickson Plumbing Co. and has been with CFMA since 1999, served as president of the Chicago chapter, as a board member, and as the chair for various committees over the last 23 years. Shawn is also chair of the Specialty Trade Committee and a member of the Leadership Development Committee, as well as a proud recipient of the 2017 Joe Quigley Memorial Chapter Award. Shawn, thanks so much for joining me today. Let's just jump right in. You want to tell me a little bit about what you do?
So I'm Shawn Erickson. I'm the CFO at C.J. Erickson Plumbing Company. I have been here for 24 years. I do HR, IT, risk management, some operational liaison, I would say. We have about 90 employees of plumbers, laborers, and operators, and about 22 people in the office. We're outside of Chicago, so I do that.
That's awesome. 24 years is a long time. It's great.
I did quit one time. It is a family business. And so when I first came in, you just have to get used to that. And I was like, I'm not sure if this is for me because it's my husband's family business.
Right.
And but it worked out. We kind of just hired an executive coach and we kind of restructured with that. And it was one of the best things that we did.
That's great. How long did you quit?
6 months, not long enough.
That's not bad. Oh, that's great. So family business, were you drafted into it, or were you like?
So I went to Michigan State and I have a degree in accounting and I have my CPA, and I was working at Crow, then went to work at McDonald's Corporation. And my father-in-law, I had been married a couple of years already. My father-in-law, who was the CEO here at the time, called me up for a meeting. So I don't know if you've ever just had a meeting with your in-laws. That's kind of unusual.
It is.
And he told me what was going on in the business and asked if I'd come to work for him. And I thought I could always go get a job somewhere, I have skills. Here it is. Let's give it a try. And that was in 1998. So.
Well, while I have never had a meeting like that with my in-laws, did they at least give you a heads up about what the meeting was about beforehand?
Yes, I think my husband had known about that because that would have been really bad if he didn't tell his own son that he was considering offering his wife a job.
Yes.
So he did know, and I think he must have thought it was a good idea to try to see what I thought of it. Okay.
Well, that's good. So how did you get involved with CFMA?
So after I was drafted, as you put it, here in 1998, I didn't know anything about the industry. Right? It's its own unique industry. And at the time, we were kind of light on the accounting finance end here. We had an outside accountant who did a lot of the activity, but I knew there was more to it. And lucky for me, my father-in-law is a big proponent of continuing education and association work. And so he definitely embraced, and I'm a curious person anyway. I always know there's got to be a better way. And so we got involved in a national peer group with plumbing contractors, but then also I saw that there was a conference locally held by the AICPA for construction. So I thought, I'm going to go to that and see what I can learn. And one of the sessions that I was at, John Metz, who happens to be our current chapter president now, he was presenting and he did a little shout out to CFMA. And I was like, CFMA, what is that? So my curious me goes back to my office, starts looking into it. And I thought, that sounds like something I should join. So that was in 1999. So I think that was in 99. Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty good run going there for your career. And speaking of your career, so as you know, April is volunteer month, and you and I know each other because we work together on the Talking Trades newsletter, which is now part of Bottom Lines, which goes out the second Tuesday of every month for members. So obviously you do a lot of volunteering within CFMA. Can you talk a little bit about how volunteering has impacted your career?
I would say it's both been a professional and a personal growth for me on the personal side, public speaking, getting more confident, learning how to run meetings better, I got a lot more friends. I mean, a lot of the people that I relate to so that I can call on that have become dear friends. On a professional side, I think this company has been elevated a lot, mostly because of the people I've met and the things I've learned, from software to almost all of our corporate partners are people that I met through CFMA,
Wow.
be it insurance, banking, attorneys. So for the company, it definitely has hit the bottom line in a good way. I've also been able to take what I've learned. Again, this is just me taking right now. This isn't even me giving. What I've learned to develop other people here, right? So it's not just about me, and that's a lot of it because I'm only one person. But as far as like the volunteering, it's, you think you're giving back, and you feel tired sometimes because you're donating a lot of time and energy. But when you sit back and look at it, my gosh,
Right.
yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah, CFMA has all of these great resources. I mean, just being able to ask your question on like the Connection Cafe and get a response from a real person, you know?
For sure. You can go there. We've even had calls with our local friends. Like we would have a Zoom meeting to say, hey, you guys, how are you doing this? And oh, here's the form I use. And, everybody didn't have to be on an island doing it all by themselves. And that was really fabulous.
So our members love advice. What is your favorite piece of advice to give?
My favorite to give is if you can make it fun, anything is possible. I really think we take ourselves really too seriously sometimes in life. And if we can just have a little bit more fun, some things we have to do, but you can lighten it up a little bit.
Well, that is great advice and probably something we all should be trying to do more of. So, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So my father-in-law, who was one of my great mentors, he always said half the battle in life is showing up. And he's so right, right? I showed up at a conference. I showed up at a CFMA meeting. You show up all the time, right? And just it's one step ahead than the next person because a lot of people don't. And sometimes showing up doesn't mean like physically being there. It's like making the phone call, right? Touching base with somebody. Yeah.
Also, great advice. So, outside of career and CFMA, what kind of hobbies do you get up to?
So my hobbies until August of 2023 have been my children. I'm going to be an empty nester soon. Yeah. So our daughter, who's a senior, is going to college, which means I am currently the treasurer of the music boosters at the high school. That has taken a ton of time. So that will be done. And I am heavily involved at church. Yeah, I just try to be well-rounded in things I love and being around people I love. So, but some of those things will fall off with that. And then I promise myself I'm not going to say yes to too many things this first year because I need to reinvent that for myself. So we'll see.
Well, Shawn, as we wrap up this episode of Voices of CFMA, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
No, I just really appreciate you doing this. I think it's great. I'm a big podcaster, and hopefully other people will listen, and maybe I will meet them at a future conference.
Yes, exactly. I hope to see you and everyone else at our conference in July in Colorado. Thank you again, Shawn, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Sal.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Voices of CFMA, sponsored by Old Republic Surety. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe and share on social media. And if you're interested in learning more about the Construction Financial Management Association, check out cfma.org. Once again, I'm your host, Sal Marino, and I will see everyone back here next month. Thanks.